Hello everyone, welcome to Ashish Unique Mindset. So this is a mindset video that I'm going to articulate on the why aspect of things and why we must do anything in life, and why I am always thinking about the why. Why am I doing a particular activity? And I'm always reassessing it personally, and the answers which I get is always different, and the intentions, I always question my own intentions why I'm doing a thing, and it always comes up with contradictory answers, and that is how it should be. I believe that it's okay, because when life and the right people give you the answers and advices on what you're doing, why you're doing, it is always good to have different set of answers which question the why itself, and makes you more thoughtful about the activities that one you are partaking at. And that's the process of learning and growth and evolving as a person, as a collective. Although lot of how and what we are doing is predicated by the collective. So it's a very contrasting set of beliefs and ideas that one gets into when one is discussing the why aspect of things. So the why aspect of the things is slightly personal to every person, I believe, and that's what makes it more interesting and more interesting to talk about, because the why anyone is doing a thing is different from the what the other person is thinking, and that is why it is often diverged into what we are doing and how we are doing the things, because the why is very personal and kept so inside and deep beneath the subconscious that one does not really want to reveal to themselves or to the other person that why we are doing a thing. And I think it requires a community, it requires an audience to contemplate the why aspect of existentialism, and very important to first regularly dwell and reassess the why, because unless we do that, we are not really aiming towards being better human beings ourselves. Better not in terms of the other person or any particular paradigm or anything, but just doing justice. And I strongly believe that honesty is the most important virtue that one must have in order to become a slightly better version of themselves. So why is often ignored because of the how and what, because it's the financial aspect also has a lot to play about it, and how the collective thinks about the financial aspects, and how the what and the how gets more importance in because of the financial aspects, and making it as a success or not, because that's how we are conditioned to think, and that's how life has been going about. So to think about the why, there is a beautiful book which is an inspiration for me in making these videos, by Simon Sinek, that start with why. It's the book is more to do with the business and how the businesses have been formed out of the why and why. But my why is more individual, more subjective, and more contemplative for my own sake. That why am I doing certain things, and why I take long breaks whilst I'm doing my work in any activity, whilst I'm exercising, whilst I'm at work, or I take some breaks which are essentially thoughtful. That why am I doing, and it often comes down to the very basic aspects, that I should drink water, that I should breathe a little bit, stretch a little bit, because there is no easy way to get an answer to the why. It is always a complex process. It often requires dialogue with the right people to get the why. So, and it often requires a lot of reading also, because reading not in terms to gain knowledge and to accumulate knowledge and not to use it, because when the why is combined with honesty, it gives a very relatively very substantial answer to why anyone is doing anything in life and why anything is meant to be pursued, and it is slightly motivational because life has become such, the modern paradigm has become such that the motivation is a kind of a necessity. It's not no longer like a auxiliary part of why anything must be pursued, but it has become considerable source of the existentialism is so difficult sometimes at times, and one comes with so much has is anyone who has been through adversity can relate to what I'm saying. That and also I would like to make it very clear that like anyone who is partaking in any decision or discussion has got a different set of worldview because of the adversities that one must has faced thus far in life. So it is very difficult to have conversations with people who are in their own journeys, who are honest people but are in their own journeys in life, and they have not seen the set of circumstances as you have seen, or you have not seen this set of circumstances as they have seen. So it becomes a very, very difficult dialogue, and it is not always ethical to say it out loud that okay, I have been faced with so much of adversities, and this is my worldview and you must listen to me. It is not as ethical. It is not ethical to do that. It is not that is not how it should be done. And I have been in part of such discussions, and I have not liked the version of myself that has said so or done so. So it is always, it has to be on a regular basis, it has to be practiced, it has to be harnessed, it has to be honestly articulated on a daily basis, because life also in modern times is very, very proactive. If you are not proactive enough in life these days, like how the modern paradigm is, one will lag behind. One will not will have to be answerable to a lot of questions, be it from the collective and from the subjective also, because at the end of the day you are not being honest to yourself and you did not seek the clarity that was needed to achieve what was the collective. So it's very, very essential to have regular discussions, be honest and ask for answers that you are not aware of. It's a very interesting process, and to get the why when one is contemplating, it's very important to dwell into the subconscious, because I was reading Alan Watts and many such books, Joseph Murphy, that the subconscious knows what an individual actually is ought to do at that moment. So it's hugely predicated by the subconscious, that what the person is doing at that moment is predicated by the subconscious, and what the person has been practicing for roughly about 30 days. Why I say so, it's like a hypothesis, but more so because I was reading Robert Sapolsky's Behave, and it has got a lot of technical jargon about psychology, about neuropsychology, about neurobiology, that any behavior which is coming out of a person from the subconscious is predicated which practices a person does in a span of 30 odd days or even more so. So if a person is having fatigue for like 30 odd days or even less, or roughly about that period, there has to be a signal from the body. When the body says that okay, I am feeling sick, I am feeling neglected, I am feeling diseased, it's because the person has not listened to the inner dialogue which the subjective was which the subconscious was always telling the person indirectly. So very important to have leisure time, very important to have, and I'm very clear about my own leisure timings. Like I'm not a believer in the fact that one should have leisure time and then one must reflect. If it is well and good for the person, and even I have a certain leisure time when I'm able to contemplate better. But I believe that it is the world is so fast paced and so on the moment that one has to have that conversation almost on a very frequent basis, whilst one person is doing any activity, whilst a person is doing any work, that to breathe, to come back to normalcy, to really be them, like be on their own with their own spirit and mind. So that being said, that was like a dialogue which I wanted to make on the why aspect, and why it has been so being so complex, has to be addressed and has to be looked into by myself and anyone who resonates with the idea will get what I'm saying. That it is not as easy as it seems, but one must always be empathetic and honest about what they are feeling about. One should have the ecosystem and the to come about what they are feeling and how they are, like, what is their mindset like. So it's very important to have that kind of a dialogue on a very periodic basis within the day. I mean, I would break it down to the day, then I would break it down to like weeks or months. I mean, that those are all so very out there. Like, it's not that easy, and time is relative. Like, it's the more you are towards the day, the more you will see that you have done thus far in life. What I have seen myself, that you have done so because you have paid heed to the day. And when we pay heed to the day, months, years go by productively, not by the clockwork. So that was the message for today. Thank you. And if you resonate, please do subscribe, share, like, comment, and support me. Thank you.